Welcome to another edition of Bundesliga Chat Time from We Are Soccer. I'm your host, Craig Hearn, and as usual, we have our resident Bundesliga expert here to join us, Nate Janulis. Nate, what's going on, buddy? Welcome back.
What's going on? Still supporting the club, even though we're struggling.
Yeah, Stuttgart hasn't had the best of starts to the season, have they? It's match day 3 this week, and Stuttgart once again did not get the job done for you. Well, why don't we start out talking about them and their results and your thoughts on the game? Obviously, they lost this weekend to Freiburg 3-2 in front of a packed house of 25,000. What do we got, Nate? What went wrong, man?
Packed house, 60,000 is usually that stadium size, but
less than 50%, right? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Packed house for what they can have, right? They're still at 50% due to COVID and everything over there. So yes.
I didn't want people to think that the stadium was small because it is not. Stuttgart versus Freiburg. They're a tough team. You know, they've done pretty decent. I think this is the best start that they had to the Bundesliga so far in the last umpteen years or something. So they're actually moseying along pretty well, not doing too big. But the biggest problem I saw in that game was the two of the 3 goals that they had was just very poor marking inside the box. Very, very poor. And for the center back pairing of Anton and Crump and Mastropanos, somebody should have been on those players to clear that out. And really had 2 quick goals, third minute, 9 minute, one from a header, guy unmarked, one from a poor clearance, hell of a shot, but still probably should have did a little better. And then the third goal that kind of all came in that first half, and then they're in the hole. They managed to pull 2 back, which is great. Mavropanos went on like a center back run and somehow just scored, which was interesting to see a center back just mumble and bumble and flip and flop right into the box and strike one in. After that, Freiburg in the second half, so you had your 5 goals in the first half, and then the second half, Freiburg sat back basically the whole time and just was trying to hold on to what they had. Yeah. Stuttgart ended with 64% possession, so it showed you that they were kind of dominating that game in the second half. And that's just how Freiburg squeezed it out, Yeah, they did what they had to do in the first half, and then they just kind of grinded it out the second half.
You go down 0-2 in first 10 minutes. It's going to be a struggle to get it back. And then obviously you go down 3-0 in under 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. It was going to be an uphill battle the whole way. Stuttgart obviously did a very good job getting it back to 3-2 towards the end of the half there. And then, like you said, Freiburg just held on, right?
Yep. And I am getting a little nervous because you look at, Red Bull should have, there's probably going to be a loss, right? But this was one you should have got some points from, especially at home. Yep. They got Frankfurt coming up, and Frankfurt is struggling, so maybe they can pinch one there. But you're quickly, a lot of these teams are quickly falling into a hole here, and I'd hate to see my team start to fall in that, because then you're trying to dig yourself out at that point. And You got a couple teams, 3 teams, and we can talk about those teams later, that have fallen into that, no-win hole, that if they don't really quickly start to get some points, they're going to start really struggling as the season goes on.
It's like the old saying goes, championships aren't won in August and September, but they surely can be lost in the early part of the season, right? So Stuttgart needs to pull it out there. One team that really is doing well and has started off the season on fire is Wolfsburg, as they find themselves at the top of the Bundesliga with 3 games played, 3 wins, and a goal difference of +3. So doing a really good job, aren't they?
And this was a good win against Leipzig. Yeah. Leipzig is a good team. Both teams were back and forth. It really was a pretty fairly even game. The goalkeeper made a massive mistake that just lined Wolfsburg's up to just strike it and then just finish out the game. And there was moments where Wolfsburg could have scored more goals. There was moments where Leipzig could have scored more goals. It was a pretty interesting match from that aspect. 2 Champions League teams going at it. Hats off to John Brooks. who, in my opinion, is really coming on as an enforcer in the league, as a strong center back that he does the dirty work that you would want to see as a center back. And he is really getting in there, mixing it up. He was in Silva's head most of the time, even at one point towards the end when it was really dumb because he runs into Silva. Silva falls down, grabbing his face because apparently, John, when you run into someone that breaks your face, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but so a face is broken and he just goes like this and then goes like this.
Night. Yeah.
First half, though, he basically mugged Silva as he was trying to get into the box, which almost resulted in a fist fight between the two of them. And you like to see that grittiness in a center back. And it's nice that he's an American player who's doing that. And he's probably one of the better center backs in this league right now. So Wolfsburg, again, they got him in the back, which is doing great. They got their striker, who didn't really have a goal, but had a couple good chances. And they're not really a team of superstars, but they're a team that just plays well together. And it would be nice to see them continue that going forward, and we'll see how they go. But right now they're off to a hell of a start.
Yeah, and Leipzig with a loss there. They're kind of a little bit of a slow start for them as well. Leipzig and Bayern are two, and Stuttgart, to be honest, and Dortmund are 2, 3, 4 teams we expect to see at the top of the table coming in the season. But they also be off to a little bit of a slow start. And I think Bayern, sorry, go ahead.
I think Leipzig is going to come through. Yeah. It's interesting with this Sabitzer transfer that could happen, but honestly, I look at it and he doesn't fit this team anymore. You got Forsberg that basically took his spot. You got the Selzabar, the Hungarian who's out wide. You got Silva who came in as a forward. You got Poulsen coming off the bench. He's even struggling for playing time. Yeah. So you got a good, solid squad. It'd be nice to see if they keep him as an option. But honestly, if they want to let him go, I don't think that's going to impact him down the run. Now, what's weird is that he's looking at Munich to go there, which is a head scratcher because I don't see where he fits in Munich with that team. He's not going to take over. They're talking about him sliding in for when Mueller needs a break. But you watched Mueller in this game, and we'll get to it. He was fantastic. He doesn't look to be slowing down at all. He doesn't look like he needs to come off the field or be replaced at all. He's doing awesome. He had the first goal against Hertha. He had an assist. He's winning tackles left and right. Then when he comes off, you have Coleman. So I'm not sure where this guy fits in even for that team. To me, it sounds like if he wanted, I get like going, hey, I don't want to play second fiddle because I'm a good enough player. But I would almost expect him to go somewhere where he would be a first team instant player. I hate to say Stuttgart, but that would be a place. But even Wolfsburg, he could probably slide in that team somewhere and do something there. I just don't see how he's going to go from Leipzig. I don't even know why Barron's trying to get him with the coming on Jamal Musiala. He doesn't fit in.
It's going to be interesting to see if he moves. There's only a couple days left here in the window. So short amount of time if he can move. Like you said, maybe they cash in on him. Maybe they don't. And it'd be interesting to see where he goes. Let's move and talk about that Bayern Munich game. A 5-0 win. That's incredible against Hertha Berlin, 5-0. And obviously Mr. Reliable Robert Lewandoski, hat trick, 3 goals.
15th hat trick. 15th of Munich. And he was awarded the Bundesliga Player of the Year for at the beginning of the tournament or the beginning of the game. So he got another one of those. That team's rocket. I mean, you got stars galore. I was talking with someone just minutes ago and I said, hey, I think Bayern could be a Champions League winner again. Really? And I'm like, well, they won a year ago. They won everything, not just the Bundesliga, the Champions League, the Super Cup. They won everything, and they just got better, and they keep getting better. So, Jamal Musiala is coming on form. The kid's amazing. He's really, really good. Mueller's seems like the bug of the Euro Cup has shaken off, and he's playing phenomenal as well. Yep. Then you have you have guys like Koeman just sitting on the bench because he's not ready to start. You got Sane sitting on the bench because he's not ready to start because Nagy's on fire left and right. So you got a squad that's depth all over the place.
To have a player like Sane sitting on the bench, I mean, in any team in the world, he's getting in and playing, but he can't find a place into this team because the players in front of him are doing so well, and they're older players, but they're doing so well out there. It's great. And like you said, Mueller he doesn't seem to be slowing down at that age there. And again, Robert Lewandowski and not slowing down, 34.
Chapo Moting sitting on the bench.
Yeah,
that's got to pull out Landonowski, put in Chapo Moting. You don't even skip a beat. I mean, it's so if they stay healthy, under Nagelsmann, I think they're going to be a tough team, not just in the Bundesliga, but in the Champions League as well.
Yeah. It's Bayern being Bayern, right? It looks like they're head and shoulders the class of the league again. It is what it is. Bayern Munich is just a super strong team, and they could have a really deep run into the Champions League again, as they always do. Whether they're strong enough to pull off wins against those, we'll call them now super teams, right? Like PSG and Man City and even now United, who just recently signed Ronaldo back. We'll see. Those are going to be fun games to watch, though.
But I consider Bayern a super team.
Oh, I agree. Oh, they've always been a super team, but the lesser known super team, right?
Yeah, they're a German heavy super team, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's the only difference. You know what I mean? They're a German heavy super team.
Yeah. No, I agree. The German heavy super team led by a Polish striker. My Polish class. I'm not Polish. My wife is, so
hey,
you gotta be closest.
Close enough. It's close. Yeah. It's near.
Yeah, close enough. There were some other pretty good games this past weekend. Bayer Leverkusen 4-1 over FC Augsburg.
So that is my FIFA. That's my 2022 FIFA glitch game of the week.
Yeah.
Only in a FIFA glitch game can you have two own goals back to back. One where I'm not sure what the defender was trying to do, but he basically chipped his goalkeeper. The other one where the header came in and it like redeflected and went in. And then Augsburg's goal, basically Niederlechner, everyone just ran into each other and the ball shot out and then like rolled slowly into that. That's the one where you're watching and it slowly goes in when you're playing. And then you go, screw this shit, I'm done. That's at that moment.
Yeah.
And you shut it off. Apparently Augsburg, fun fact, in the last 20 games, they have the worst record against Bayer Leverkusen than any other team in the Bundesliga. Like, they struggle to win against Leverkusen, and it showed in this game because, Schick's goal was awesome. Vert's goal was great. His little toe poke around and then shot into the side net was awesome. Leverkusen's a rock and rolling team. That's why they hired this coach, is because they wanted to be attacking and goal scoring more of a goal scoring team. Yep. And you look at what they've done. They've, their first game was a 1-1 tie, but then they scored 4 against Gladbach. And then they scored 4 against Augsburg here. Now, little asterisk, Gladbach hasn't won a game, and Augsburg has been struggling as well, but they look very good, at least doing it.
And just so for the people out there who are keeping track, Bayer Leverkusen are in second place, 2 points behind Wolfsburg, and 1 point. Even on points with Munich, but ahead on goal difference. And
they were the last week's FIFA glitch game of the week. So apparently they have a cheat code.
Yeah,
they have a cheat code.
They have a cheat code on.
They have a cheat code.
Is this week's game more of a glitch than last week's, or is last week's more?
It was, just as glitchy.
Just as glitchy. FIFA's got to figure this out, man. There's so many glitches.
Yeah, they got the tech people have to fix this because they're cheating apparently.
We'll send this. We'll send the show into FIFA and let them know. Where they got to fix this.
Yeah.
All right. What game do you want to move on to next? Do you want to talk about?
Dortmund Hoffenheim.
Let's do it. That's the one I was gonna kind of finish up with, but I like it. Let's go with that. We've got some stories to talk about in there. I'll let you go ahead and kick it off.
So let's talk about the news real quick. And and maybe you caught it, maybe this is one of the stories you wanted to talk about a one Ernie Haaland, and apparently a PSG trying to put in an offer of 200 million pounds. And the reply from the sporting director, which is, we're not a bank and he's not for sale. So apparently they're riding and dying with this, and they're not going to sell him.
But
so
it's unusual because the release clause kicks in next summer, and the release clause is 75 million. So Dortmund, who generally grow stars and then sell them, are going to lose out on essentially 125 million. We'll call it 125 million euros by not selling him now to PSG.
And unless they work out some deal where the Pulisic type deal in January, but that's what it appears like. Unless they turn completely, the sporting director, unless he completely turns around and says, haha, just kidding. But he's reportedly saying, no, I'm not going to sell him for, PSG gave me an offer to 200 million euros. We are not a bank. I'm turning it down. Said, our position is clear. I don't need to play the parrot all the time. So he's standing firm, and yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, Dortmund have turned the corner and said, we're not a selling team. We're not going to grow these players to sell and not win anything. We want to win. We want to win the Bundesliga, and we want to try our best to win the Champions League. Maybe this is a year they think they can go all in and win it. And the only way to do that is by keeping a hold of Haaland. And I mean,
definitely helps.
You sell him, you've got no time to purchase another player, so you're out of luck there because the window closes on the 31st. But you sell him, and you're not going to compete. You're not going to come close to winning the Bundesliga or the Champions League. So your best chance is to stay a hold of him. Maybe they're going to try and renegotiate with him. Maybe they're going to say, put your release clause at 150. We'll give you a brand new wage packet. I don't know. It's very interesting, right? Because or maybe they're playing. Maybe they're playing coy and no, we're going to reject this offer. We're not selling him, hoping that PSG come back with an approved offer of 220 million euros.
But that's pretty ballsy because 200 million euros would be a world record. That's even more than what they're looking. I mean, and I think that's where the 200 million, everyone goes where the 200 million is going to come from. Well, it's really only 20 million if they sell Mappy to Madrid, right? Yeah. And then they parlay it. Yeah. But if Dortmund's just going, no, we're not going to do it, I don't know how much more you can get, So it's interesting. I don't think, you sell them. The biggest problem you're going to have is you're not going to get any replacement. I mean, even if you buy someone, you're not replacing that player. It just doesn't work like that. He's too good. He's too special. Will you get by? Yeah, probably. You got a talented roster, but you're not going to replace him, period. Right. There's no replacement. I don't see one.
He's one of those players where you just can't replace, right? You can't replace a Messi. You can't replace a Haaland. You can't replace a Grealish. They're those individual type players that you just can't replace with a single purchase of another player. We'll keep an eye on that. It's very interesting. It's nice to hear that the Dortmund turned it down, and that Haaland hasn't refused to play or uphold his end of the contract, and he's out there playing because he scored the winner in this goal over the weekend. I think it was in the 90th minute.
90 plus.
Yeah. So he's 90 plus. And another storyline that came out of this, Gio Reyna, the youngest player to ever play 50 games in the Bundesliga, and he scored a goal as well.
And that goal had a 2% margin of actually going in. It was a phenomenal goal that he squeezed in to start it off. The end score was 3-2. Hoffenheim stuck in there and really kind of came back, had a couple good goals themselves. Bellingham had a fantastic strike when the goalkeeper parried the ball basically straight to him, or the ball was parried to him, and then he cranked it right in. It was a really nice goal. Reyna's goal was really nice. And then, to top it off, you had Haaland starting the attack and then basically coming in the blind side and smashing it in right at the tail end to secure that, to make it go from a tie to a win. That's the type of player you're not gonna, like I said, you can't replace a player like that. It's impossible. The way he finished that run, the technique he put on that strike, and his just physical and athletic ability to get there is is not something you're going to find a new one. And I mean, if you wanted to, or if they could have asked for Mappy for Haaland. Obviously, it's not even a 1-for-1 trade there. But it's nice that the Dortmund team, for once in football, has said, we don't care about the money. We're trying to do something here. And that's what the sporting director says. And hats off to them. Yep. And you know what? They lose out on money because of principle. Awesome.
It would be a first, right? It would be a first. The only thing that can kind of change that whole thing is if Haaland walks in and says, I want to leave. I want out. I want you to accept the offer. And we've seen that happen before, right? We've seen it happen to big stars walking into clubs and saying, thanks for all you've done for me, but I want to go. So you're going to, and it forces the hand. The club has to sell the player, but we'll see if that happens. He doesn't look like that type of player, but he said that.
All indication is that he wants to stay this one more year because they're happy with the way he's being used and how he's being marketed.
Right. And I do want to quickly note the 3 goal scorers you just mentioned in that game. Jude Bellingham, 18 years old. Gio Reyna, 18 years old. Erling Haaland, 20 years old. Are you kidding me? That is a squad. They're not even close to their prime. The prime age of a soccer player is about 27, 26 years old. Those kids have years to go. Could you imagine if they were to stay together? You imagine if Sancho had stayed as well. But, it is what it is. That's football, soccer. It happens. But, yeah, I mean, what a great game. They win 3-2 in the final in the dying minutes there. Some great games in the Bundesliga this weekend, my friends.
Yeah, there's a total of 33 goals this week, so up 6 from last week. So you had some phenomenal games. Not all of them were crushing. Most of them, outside of Hoffenheim, Mainz, Fürth, Leverkusen, and Leverkusen. Most of them are decided by 1 goal, really. Yeah. So most of them are very, very close games. But yet there was a lot of goals to be scored, and that's what makes this league fun. There's a lot of team goals going on. There's a lot of good passing and movement of the ball that really kind of make things special. So,
and out of all the games this weekend, there was only 1 draw.
Yeah. And that was a decent draw for both teams, for both Bielefeld and Frankfurt. Mm-hmm. Frankfurt's really struggling though, really starting out slow, and they're one of those teams that really they need to win, which stinks because they're going against my Stuttgart team. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Stuttgart gets some of the players that have been out for injury back in, and they seal it off and go. The biggest thing you don't want to be is right now the Hertha, Gladbach, and Augsburg, who are just sitting at the bottom of the table and just digging themselves in a hole. Yeah. So that's the biggest issue right now. If you're one of those teams, you don't want to be at that bottom end of that table. It's still early. The season goes out, then you start struggling and you can't pull it ahead. And then you're looking to have to go on a miracle run. I mean, I'm not really surprised by Hertha. That's what they did to stay in the league. And you can't continue to do that. You can't have a miracle run every season to stay afloat.
Because at some point those miracles run out.
Basically, and that's where they're at right now with 0-3 and -8 goals to the good. So,
well, this is now we enter an international break next weekend. There's international World Cup qualifying games that these players all have to jet off to and play in. But we will be back the following week. The Bundesliga will, and the first games they are Saturday, September 11th. One of the games to look forward to, Bayern Munich versus RB Leipzig. So that could be and should be a really good one at 12:30 Eastern Time on ESPN Plus. Hopefully a lot of these teams have international players who'll be jetting off to play in those World Cup qualifying games. Hopefully there's no injuries. They can come back and be healthy and jump right back on it. And this league can just continue right along because, as you just said, man, 33 goals, lots of fun, young players, as we've talked about. So Bundesliga just it's rising, man. The stock of the Bundesliga just keeps rising every week.
Oh, yeah. And we'll see how it finishes out. And hopefully the hopefully it continues a very competitive top competition. Just like it was last year, where it came down to Leipzig in the last few weeks, and if it wasn't for them kind of messing up the last few games, it would have been the league winners. So hopefully Wolfsburg can stay in there. Leipzig can be back in there and kind of mix it up and challenge it for a 3-4 type race there against Munich.
Agreed. All right, man. Well, I think that covers us this week for the Bundesliga Chat Time on We Are Soccer. Thank you again, Nate. Very much appreciate it. And yeah, buddy, we'll chug right along, and we'll see you next week, friend.
See you next week. Pros.